You know I'm not famous. I wish I was famous. Of course, you have to be good at something to be famous, or you have to be famous for something. Today, you can be famous just to be famous, but I'm not famous. I would have liked to have been famous. I even thought about being infamous, but famous was what I wanted. I've known a lot of famous people, but I'm not famous, and some of the famous people I've known are really the relatives of famous people, not the famous people. Like when I was a boy. When I was a boy, my boyhood amigo was Charles Poole. He was the nephew of Dick Van Patten, who used to be on Eight Is Enough and all kinds of episodic television. I remember Mama, I think, from the 50s, but I don't remember that show. Anyway, his uncle was, famous on television, and he used to call him, they used to get pictures from the Pooles would get pictures from the Van Pattens in Hollywood because Mr. Van Patten's sister married Dick Van Patten. Anyway, so we used to go over to the Pooles every Friday, at least I did, because I was the boyhood amigo of Charles Poole. Charles Poole wanted to be a doctor, but he wound up being a meat butcher at the local food line.
Close.
Yeah, it was close. He cut meat. It's just the meat was dead when he cut it, and I guess that's why he hasn't been sued for malpractice, although Food Line has been in questionable situations because of, I guess, food handling practices, but I don't want to go there. Anyway, when I used to go to Charles Poole's every Friday, his mother would make us something we really enjoyed. Of course, we were a part of it. It was one of those interactive things. We would go out and get frogs. We'd go we practically lived in the woods, so, it was very easy to find a frog. And then kids are always easy at finding things like that. But anyway, we would go find frogs, and then we'd bring them back to Charles Poole's mother. And Charles Poole's mother would fry them. So every Friday we had French fried frog legs. It's like shake and bake with chicken, only with frogs. Now, I was too young to remember if it tasted like chicken. Everything I know tastes like chicken. Elephant tastes like chicken. Giraffe tastes like chicken. Alligator tastes like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken. Well, I was too young to remember that. All I remember was we used to grab the frogs and bring them. And I think it didn't take many frogs to feed us. We were all 7 or 8 or something like that. And we used to enjoy it. I mean, everything about it. The torturing of the frogs, the catching of the frogs, the mother chopping the frog's legs off, us throwing the still live and in shock frog out into the backyard, us, playing little games with the frog's mouth while they're dying of losing frog, I don't know if it's blood, it might be just lymph fluid, but anyway, the frogs were losing all that, and they were, soon to be ex-frogs, which makes me worry about reincarnation. I'd like to come back as a sunflower, but I think I'm coming back as a frog. Anywho, Charles Poole's mother would fry these frog legs, and we'd all have frog legs with fries. So every Friday we would have French fried frog legs with French fries. And it was one of my favorite memories. So every time I see television with Dick Van Patten on it, and I think the Goomer's still alive, his sons were real popular, but I don't think they became as famous as they were in the 70s when they were all the heartthrobs and things. But Timothy Van Patten, his nephew, directed a lot of the Sopranos shows, which has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm saying. Anyway, every time I see Dick Van Patten in an old show, I think of Mother Poole and her French fried frog legs. Every Friday with French fries. It's one of my childhood memories, and that's one of the close associations I have with the semi-famous. So, stop recording. Okay.
Okay, so playback.
Okay, well, hold on.
Okay.
How you hit playback?
Well, just, let's see, which one was it?
Well, I hit this.
You're still recording.
I said stop recording. What?
Don't tell me you haven't been recording this whole time.